So what are we on to next? Blood Harvest? Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
All right. Well, if anybody watched this with us, I doubt anybody watches things with us, but I'm sorry. I just want to apologize to everybody. This wasn't what I wanted. I can tell you what I wanted. Tiny Tim as a killer clown. Because that dude's weird. But no. It's Nightmare, aka Blood Harvest. You can watch this on Shudder if you care to waste some of your time. Summary. In a small town, people are being murdered by having their throats cut. Directed by Bill Rebane. I don't know what else he did. Written by Chris Villar, William Arthur Benson, and Emil Joseph.
Let's give this one 4. Right.
Yeah. Terrible fucking editing. Oh my god, that was the first thing. But I kind of enjoy the soundtrack, but that's because it's written by an award-winning composer. I even kind of enjoy the Tiny Tim songs a little bit. I gotta admit, they're kind of weird. And if they would have done this right, it could have been good. I think, or at least as good as Luther the Geek for me, which is a 10. Of course.
I feel like it's already about as good as Luther the Geek.
Fairly boring movie throughout the first half. Around the 40-minute mark, things start to get mildly interesting when the boyfriend gets smashed with a bat. But they dip right back into boring town. From the beginning, as soon as you find out that these two dudes are brothers, I knew that it was the brother that was the killer, right away. Such a badly written piece of shit.
And if Frank catches on to it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Insane amounts of pointless nudity, though. So, I don't want to be a party pooper or anything.
Some full frontal, huh?
A bush and everything.
80s bush.
This girl gets dressed and undressed so much that it's kind of pointless in some way, right? She's just literally taking her clothes. Why is she so comfortable just sleeping in this house? Because her parents are missing. There's no. When she comes home, there's spray paint all over. There's an effigy hanging in the hallway.
Did you give a summary?
Oh yeah, it's in a small town, people are being murdered by having their throats cut.
That's the summary?
That's it.
That's not really summary. So
that's a terrible job.
A girl comes home
IMDb,
from
man.
college or whatever. There's spray paint all over her house because her father's works at the bank and he's foreclosing on the farms around the area, so they're calling him thief, and they hang up a dead body mannequin thing in the house, and so they're just messing with him. So the parents are gone.
Yeah, and there's this weird clown, which is Tiny Tim, who's always being weird, creeping around the house, and her ex-boyfriend, who is the Mervo's the clown, Tiny Tim's name, his brother. But yeah, this and she has a real boyfriend that comes and visits her at some point, but it's just such a fucking bad movie, man. The movie should have been called The Blue Jean Killer, because this dude.
You're making me depressed, dude.
It was bad, dude.
What'd you rate it?
3 out of 10, man.
You're depressing.
Yeah.
Go on, Jason.
I'm surprised to hear all this. I kind of really enjoyed this movie. Tiny Tim is really good in this movie. He's weird and creepy enough on his own to where you toss him in a horror movie, you have your character right there. They didn't even necessarily need to add any clown paint or anything to him. Just him creeping around, singing, and I liked it. I think it even warns you at the beginning. I think I remember seeing it, but there are extreme hard cuts in this movie. It'll just skip right to the
boom.
So it does have some flaws. Very low budget. And more love-making scenes. First we seem to be on a sad movie kick, and now
this is a sad movie, man.
Love-making scenes. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, there was so much nudity.
Just about every scene that happened in the barn, I thought was great. There's some really good things that they do in there with tying the victims up and just the struggles that go on in the barn. And a barn is a good horror setting.
I like the look of it a lot. It looks like that grain of film or whatever they use. It's just good.
Yeah, it's again, lots of bad editing, lots of issues going on.
Yeah.
Pretty much I thought the acting was bad overall, except for Tiny Tim. Like I love his weirdness and his character. The story's completely broken. I don't know what's cinematography. None. Like, it's point and shoot. Like, set the camera up, film this, and skip right to the next scene. The strange songs, Tiny Tim singing, that works for me. Decent practical effects. I thought they were all right. It's a bad movie, but I enjoyed it. I actually give it a 6, going on a 7.
Wow.
This comes
That's
out.
weird, huh?
This comes out on
Some surprises.
on Blu-ray October 30th by Vinegar Syndrome. Right now, it's got a price on it of about $35. So I don't think it's that good. And like even the DVDs out of print and the used copies around $20. So
I would buy a poster. I think the cover art that I saw was really cool for this, but
It's completely thrown me, both of you.
yeah, I
Well, not
liked it.
Frank. I would have been surprised if you hadn't already apologized like the day you watched.
Well, that's
it.
what really threw me off. Like I was expecting, like if Frank's saying he's sorry for a movie, this has to be
it
awful.
reminded me of Luther. That's
He
why.
even said
Maybe
you
that's-
may end up liking it, and I did.
Maybe that's what it was. Is you didn't go in expecting anything. You went in expecting
Awful.
trash. And you're like, oh, this isn't. It's like
It
he
was
gave
awful.
Luther the Geek a 10. What the fuck is this?
Oh, this is way better than Luther the Geek. Oh my God.
All about preferences, man.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're really similar in a lot of ways, but I don't know. The editing was so unforgivable in so many places.
But I think it warned you, so I think I was expecting that too. So I wasn't caught off. I wasn't caught off guard by
what
that.
surprised me on your end, especially Jason, is when you went through and read through everything. It's like, okay, the cinematography's crap. Okay, it doesn't look good. The acting is poor. The story doesn't work. You pretty much went through and said everything is bad.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like
I'll give it a 7.
Like
I'm starting to infect
the
him.
way. No, I think no. The way it looks.
Sometimes
the practical effects, Tiny Tim. Like there's a lot. There's also a lot of good things about. It's completely broken.
Yeah,
But
sometimes
like you want to talk
trash-
about a movie that. Yeah, they had everything right there.
Sometimes trash works for people. I get it.
That's good.
That's- I
6. It's a 6.
not quite as low as Frank. I gave it a 4. For pretty much all the reasons that we went through and everything bad. Tiny Tim is the reason it carries a 4. If you pull Tiny Tim out of this movie, it's garbage.
Awful. No, I agree with that. And this is, I think it's worth watching just for Tiny Tim. I am not certain.
Just for the oddity.
I'm not going to go out and spend $35 on Blu-ray,
It's not.
but it's worth watching.
It's not one I would recommend unless I know someone who's like, I think Tiny Tim's funny to watch. Then I would be like, well, that's worth your time then.
Someone that likes bad movies. There's a lot of people out there that like bad, cheesy movies.
I do.
Which
And
is Frank, and he didn't like this one either.
Yeah.
So
That's
who
what I'm
knows?
saying. I like those. and
Just
didn't-
watch it.
I wonder what it would look like on Blu-ray, though. That seems like if they made it.
It ain't gonna help the rest of it.
Oh,
But I gave it a 4, and all 4 points is just Tiny Tim chucking the whole movie on his shoulders and carrying it because it's weird.
And I seen I just like 1 or 2 questions on camera while he was on set, them talking to him, asking him about the movie, how he thought it was going. He's just such a weirdo.
Are they treating you well up here at Irma,
I
Wisconsin?
can't complain, yes.
So what do you think about your first major role in a motion
Well,
picture?
it looks good to me. Hope it looks good for the viewers.
Are you happy with the role?
Very happy.
Was it a character that you think...
I've always wanted to play.
Tell us about Merle. Tell us...
What about him?
Yeah.
Well, he's somebody's brother who's a little off.
It is a middle element.
And I'd love to tell you the rest of the story. Unfortunately, it will disturb the movie. But when you pay your admission, you know you can find out the rest.
He's an
Yeah,
oddball.
He should have done so many more movies. Like,
If you ever want to see some cool shit or hear some cool shit, go back and look up Howard Stern when he came on, because he would just go on there and talk about products that he loved. He'd be like, Bounty paper towels, they're the best. I just love them so much. It was just such a fucking oddity, and he didn't like people to touch him either. So
I think I will watch that. I don't know. He's just a weird man.
Yeah, that's what made me want to check it out, was how fucking crazy and weird he is.
But yeah, it felt like a slog to me.
What'd you give this?
Oh,
3.
Yeah, 3.
I gave it a 4.
That's weird.
You guys are low.
Weird stuff.
Check this movie out.
What's our last film? I can't remember what we were going with.
You may not be low.
Teeth or Phantasm?
Let's do Phantasm.
Phantasm, Ravager.
Okay.
I don't feel like I'm done talking about this movie.
No.
All right. Well,
I think no, it is. It is. You pointing out the fact that I was pointing out everything that was wrong with it. He's still giving it a good score. It's not a 6 or 7, but I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it like a 6 or 7.
This is one of the times where
One man's
I'm
trash.
using that card.
One man's trash is another man's soap.
Yeah.
I use that card almost every time.
Right.
So,
and I hardly use it, and I'm using mine.
I'm using mine. It's a garbage movie. I'm using my card to say it's good.
But I like it.